I'm currently outside London Victoria Station, and yes, you guessed right, it's time for another edition of Platform Roulette. Just in case this is the first time you're watching, here's what Platform Roulette entails. I've put all the platform numbers of the train station into a mystery wheel. I'll then spin the wheel and take the next train from whatever platform number I get. I'll then ride the train to the last stop and spend a day in that town. Hopefully that sounds simple enough. Time to get back to the video. So apparently London Victoria is the second busiest station in the UK, something I didn't know before I planned this video. So from London Victoria you can get trains all the way out to Sussex, West Sussex, Kent and other parts of sort of southeast England. So that means I could end up in places like Brighton. Anyway, as you can see, it's a bit of a gloomy winter's day here in London. So let's go inside and spin that wheel. Right, it's time to spin that wheel. Platform number 6. As you can see, platform 6 is pretty empty at the moment, and looking at the boards up ahead as well, it doesn't seem like there's any train going from platform 6, so I'm going to spin the wheel again. Time for spin number 2. Platform number 12. Looks like platform number 12 is going to Reigate. I've got exactly 7 minutes to catch a train. Let's go and get the ticket. Funny enough, Reigate is actually not too far away from where I live. It's about a half an hour, 40-minute drive. Despite that, I've never actually been to the town, but I have been to Reigate Hill, which was in fact one of the first videos I filmed on this channel. If you haven't seen it already, I'll leave a link somewhere up there. Just got off the train here in Reigate. I can't lie, the first impressions aren't great. There's not a lot going on. Seems a bit bleak if I'm being really honest. I'm going to try and find like the main street / the high street here. Hopefully there's a bit more going on there. So on the way down here, I was looking at TripAdvisor for things to do, and I can't lie, there's not a lot going on. The top 3 or 4 places were like parks, but I'm filming this video in the middle of February, so I can't imagine those parks will be in a great condition. But one thing there was this sort of cave thing, well, sort of sand cave here in Reigate. Apparently it's a 5-minute walk from the station, so I'm going to go there and see what it has to offer. Over there, in the distance, you might be able to see a tunnel, and apparently, according to this side, this is the Reigate Road Tunnel, which happens to be the oldest road tunnel in the UK. Now, that's something I wasn't expecting to see today. Apparently this tunnel is well over 200 years old, and it might be the oldest road tunnel in Europe as well, which is crazy to think that this small little town in Surrey has the oldest tunnel. It turns out the entrance for the caves is in the tunnel itself, but as you can see, sadly it's closed. Apparently it's only open on these days in the year and you have to pre-book your ticket. So if you do want to visit tunnels, make sure you check out reigatecaves.org.uk. And just in case you want a visual representation, this is what the tunnels would have looked like inside. On the note of the tunnel, considering this is Reigate's, well, one of Reigate's best well-known landmarks, you'd think it'd be in a bit better condition and they would have maintained it a bit better. If I'm being brutally honest, I feel like it needs a bit of TLC. I've made it down to like the main high street / the town centre of Reigate. I can't lie, it actually looks pretty good in the sense that all the shops are open, there's a lot of people about. If you go to most like town centres in the UK these days, half the shops are closed, it all seems a bit run down. But Reigate, you seem to be thriving. On that note, it's time to grab some lunch and then plan what I'm going to do next. So I went to Banana Tree for lunch, so nothing too fancy. But yeah, I'm quite a big fan of Reigate Town Centre. It's got like a nice mix of shops, loads of nice restaurants, loads of cute cafes, big range of like clothes shops and other kind of stuff. And everyone's really friendly as well. So yeah, it's a good sign so far. As I mentioned earlier, if you go on TripAdvisor, the top 3 or 4 things to do here in Reigate is various parks and like walks. And the number 1 park was Priory Park, which is right next to the town centre. Even though, as you can see, it's the middle of winter and the weather is a bit bleak, for the purposes of this video, I feel like I have to visit it, right? I just walked into Priory Park and this is the first thing that greets you. A pet cemetery. I did not know they were a thing. I mean, I've never owned a pet, so maybe it is a common thing. But yeah, right next to the entry of the park is all 6 tombstones. It seems like Priory Park is actually a lot bigger than I thought it was. No wonder it's number 1 on things to do here in Reigate. Seems like the lake is the centre point, so I may as well head towards there. I think I've made it to the lake. Well, I say lake, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was. It's more of like a really large pond, I guess. It looks okay. It looks a bit grey, obviously it's winter, what else do you expect? And the trees are a bit bare. The park's not too bad, I can see why it's number 1 rated thing to do here in Reigate, especially in the warmer months. It would be quite nice to walk around, there's like a nice cafe, there's like a big playground as well, so a nice place to take your kids. Just walked out of the park into this residential area where you can see some very, very nice houses. I suspect the houses on this sort of cul-de-sac are at least 800, 900, maybe even £1 million. If you're not familiar with the UK, Reigate is in Surrey, which is a very affluent part of the UK. A lot of like millionaires live around here. So another thing to note in Surrey and this part of the UK in general, there's not a lot of public transport, especially on country lanes like this, which means sadly, if you can't drive, it's a little bit difficult to get around. As I continue my day out here in Reigate, I've come across this, which is like an old gatehouse. In fact, this used to be part of an old castle here in Reigate. This sort of area is known as Reigate Castle Grounds. Sadly, the old castle is gone, but this gatehouse is the only thing that remains. It's sort of the other side of Reigate Town Centre from where the Priory Park was. And another fun fact, this gatehouse happens to go right on top of the old tunnel I was in earlier today. Sadly, it's getting close to the end of my time here in Reigate. As I've mentioned a few times throughout this video, it's quite a cold winter's day today, so I thought to finish the video off, I'm going to go to one of Reigate's cafes and get myself a nice hot drink. I've come to Carzo Lounge, which is right in the middle of Reigate Town Centre, to get my hot chocolate, which I feel like is really needed on a cold day like today. After this, I'll probably get a train back home. And I guess that brings an end to my time here in Reigate. I've had a good time. Yes, there's not a lot to do, but in general, it's a really nice town to just walk around. The parks are really nice, and I can imagine in the summer months, it'll be even better. And most importantly, the people here seem to be really nice as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Platform Roulette, and make sure you subscribe to see more videos like this. And if this is the first time you're watching this series, make sure you check out my playlist for the other videos. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.